How's it going, everyone? This is Zach. Welcome to the channel. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the world of The Witcher. I'm going to be walking you through some of the maps of the continent and showing you where all of the locations that were visited or mentioned in the show are located on the world map. That way you get a clear understanding of where all of the characters were moving on the world map, how far they had to travel, where they were in proximity to each other. And overall, it's just very useful information to know to increase your understanding of the Witcher universe. So this isn't going to be a full breakdown of each one of these locations. I'm not going to go into all of the info of each one of these cities or capitals or kingdoms. I'm just going to give you a little bit of information from the show and what episode we saw or heard about this location in. So this is just a general overview of the map, not a full explanation. And before we get started, if you guys enjoy the video, remember to leave a like and a comment. It really helps the channel out. Also consider subscribing for more Witcher videos and show explanations. Thank you guys in advance. And with that, let's get into the video. So I think it's best to start off by showing you guys the four major kingdoms of the Northern Realms. So you have Temeria, Redania, Kaedwen, and Aedirn. So I have them pointed out on the map. There are some other smaller kingdoms as well in the Northern Realms, but these are considered the major four. You can also see Cintra to the south of Temeria and Nazaire at the very bottom. And don't worry guys, I'm just giving you a quick overview of the map before we get into more detail. Okay guys, one more quick map of the Northern Kingdoms. I liked this one because it shows the borders of the countries. I have the four major ones pointed out again. So as you can see, Redania is the reddish color in the upper left, and you can clearly see the boundaries of this kingdom. And this is just a good map to see how large the various kingdoms are compared to one another. Okay guys, so starting off with the location we are most familiar with from the show, it is of course Cintra. As you can see, Cintra is to the far south of the Northern Kingdoms. It's the closest to Nilfgaard, which is partly why it was the first to be conquered by them. If you look straight to the north of Cintra, you can see Brokilon Forest. If you look closely, you can see the small dot above the large lettering for Cintra. That is actually where the city itself is located. So it's on the far west side of the continent, almost to the coastline. Moving on to the Skellig Islands, so they are to the northwest of Cintra. We don't go here in this show in the first season, but there are some notable characters that are from Skellig. So we have a Mousesack, Iced, who's Calanthe's husband / king, who was killed in the first episode. And also Ciri mentions spending some time in Skellig. And if you've played The Witcher 3, you get to visit Skellig Islands, and it's a huge map. At some point in the show, the characters will actually come here. Probably not next season, but maybe as a flashback. Okay, moving on to a new map. This one was the best for showing smaller locations in cities. So I'm going to be using this one to show you a lot of places. So starting with Sodden, this is where the final battle takes place in the season finale. This is where we see all of the mages, Yennefer, Triss, Tissaia, Vilgefortz, all trying to hold back the Nilfgaardian army from invading the Northern Realms. So if you remember from the show, they were defending a keep that was right on the Yaruga River, the river that divided the lower continent from the upper. And we can see that river right above the highlighted area, which is Sodden Hill. This is where the mages made their final stand at the end of the episode, where Yennefer unleashed all the fire on the Nilfgaardian army. Moving on to the next location, we have the Brokilon Forest. So this is where Ciri ends up after the fall of Cintra, where she meets all of the female warriors, the Dryads, and they try to get her to drink the waters of Brokilon. So all of that takes place in this forest. And as you can see, it's in the Kingdom of Temeria, but it's kind of its own separate entity because no one has been able to conquer it yet. Now this one's a little weird, I couldn't find it on any maps, but it is Aretuza, the sorceress training school where Yennefer spent many of her episodes in. Now Aretuza isn't really its own location, it's just the name of the school that is on a place called Thanedd Island, and that island is located to the northwest of Gorz Velen, so somewhere right in the area I have circled. So this location is actually pretty interesting. I learned something new about this as well. So this is the city of Banard. This city is located in the kingdom of Kaedwen on the far east side of the continent, and in this city is the Banard Academy. Now this is where, at least in the show, they train all of the male sorcerers. And it's also the school where Istredd was learning to be a mage at. And as you can see, it's on the complete opposite side of the Northern Kingdoms as Thanedd Island is. So Yennefer was all the way to the far west on the coastline, while Istredd was to the far east, almost in the mountains. So in all the scenes where we see Yennefer and Istredd meeting, one of them must have portaled to the other because the schools they were attending were on total opposite sides of the continent. Moving on to the next town, we have Blaviken. Not a lot going on here, but this was in the first episode where Geralt got his nickname Butcher of Blaviken, and it's also where we meet the wizard Stregobor and Renfri. So the next location is a smaller kingdom called Caingorn, and this is where episode 6 takes place, at least for Geralt and Yennefer's story. So in the episode we see them climbing mountains and rocky terrain, so that's kind of the geography of this area. As we can see, it's on the far north side of the continent, pretty much to the Dragon Mountains, and pretty much at the edge of the north side of the continent, at least what has been explored. The next location is Dol Blathanna, so this is in episode 2 where we see Geralt and Jaskier meet for the first time, and then they go on to fight the Sylvan and get captured by the elves. This episode was based on the short story from the books called Edge of the World, and as you can see, it's on the far east side of the continent, pushed up against the Blue Mountains. And while the continent continues to the east past the Blue Mountains, that's pretty much the barrier between the Northern Realms and everything else. Moving on, we have the Witcher castle called Kaer Morhen. Now this is to the far northeast of the Northern Kingdoms, and usually when Geralt or other people he knows wants to hide out and lay low, this is where they go because it's so secluded and so far away from everything else in the Northern Realms. It's the base of operations for the Wolf School of Witchers. It's where Vesemir brought Geralt as a child and trained him to be a Witcher, as well as the other Wolf School Witchers like Eskel and Lambert. And we will definitely be seeing Kaer Morhen in the show for season 2. The next location is the city of Rind. We see this city in episode 5 where Geralt meets Yennefer and they have their scuffle with the Jinn, and as we can see, it's located right between Redania and Temeria, but it is on the Redanian side of the river. And then we have the capital city of the Northern Kingdom, Aedirn. The city is called Vingerberg, and it is where Yennefer is from. So if you remember from the show, the king of Aedirn only wanted sorceresses that were from his kingdom, which is why Yennefer was a perfect fit to go there as a court mage, because she was actually from the capital city. Moving on to the next city, it is the capital of Temeria, and it is called Vizima. We see Geralt come here in episode 3 to fight Destriga, and he meets the king of Temeria named Foltest, who resides in this city and is allowing this monster to rampage across its countryside, killing citizens and creating havoc. Foltest was being a horrible ruler at this point, and you can see why there was about to be a revolt against him. And this is also where we meet Triss for the first time, as she helps Geralt with Destriga. Okay guys, we are almost done, just a couple more locations to cover. So this is a new map. It is zoomed way out compared to the ones I was using earlier. And just for reference, I have circled the Northern Kingdoms. So the map shot I was showing you earlier included only what was in that red circle. So this is actually the rest of the continent. So you can see Nilfgaard is actually bigger than all of the Northern Realms, as it extends from where the red circle ends all the way down to the southeast corner of the map. Alright guys, so this is the final map, and as you can see, I have put a border around Nilfgaard. So starting at the top of Nilfgaard, you can see Nazair. So Yennefer came here in I think episode 7 to try to reignite her relationship with Istrid, and that did not work out. But this is also where she meets Vilgefortz before they head back to Aretuza. So all of these places south of Nazair are provinces of the Empire. These are all places that they have conquered over time. And now that they have conquered Cintra, the border would be extended upwards and encompass that as well. So as you can see, Nilfgaard is huge. It looks to be almost twice the size of the Northern Kingdoms. And if we come down way to the bottom, we can actually see the capital of Nilfgaard. It is called the City of the Golden Towers. And this is very close to the southern tip of the continent, and I don't think the continent extends past Lower Nilfgaard. And one more thing to show you guys, if you look to the east of Nazair and north of Lower Nilfgaard, you see the Korath Desert highlighted in brown, and in that area is where Zerrikania is. So Zerrikania was mentioned in episode 6, the two warriors Teia and Vea. This is where they were from, and as you can see, it's very far away from everything. It's behind a desert, behind mountain ranges, so it's very difficult to get to. But nonetheless, this is where it's located, and anytime you hear Zerrikania in the books, the shows, or the games, you now know this is where it's at. Alright guys, that is going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot from it. I know I did. My knowledge of the geography of The Witcher was very limited, so this definitely helped me understand the world of The Witcher better as well. And I know I didn't go into a lot of detail about all of these different places, but I figured a general overview of where everything is located would be better for people to get a general understanding of where everything is at before diving into all of the extra details. Anyways guys, if you made it this far, I would like to thank you for watching. Remember to leave a like and comment if you enjoyed the video. Also subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming content. And I will see all of you in the next video.